Okay, so this KVK is super interesting. I actually hope we see more free-for-all KVKs in the future, right? So just quick narration for this. If you look at the thumbnail for this video, it looks like some like old Chinese drawing. It's actually a Chinese proverb. So the story is that there's a snipe, which is a bird, and a clam that started fighting, right? The bird or the snipe is trying to get into the clam, but the clam actually like grabbed its beak and they were struggling back and forth. And then if you see the fisherman in the bushes, this fisherman was just kind of watching and chilling, and then when they tired each other out, just came in, scooped them up, took them home, and then I assume he just cooked them and ate them or something, right? That's actually what's happening in this KVK. So this is a kind of dynamic that can happen in a KVK, because I think if 1960 and 1093 knew this was going to happen, they might have played this a little bit differently, because essentially they're in a stalemate. Well, we'll get into the KVK. They're in a stalemate. I think 1960 is actually going to start pulling ahead, but they can't not fight each other now. And meanwhile, 2605 and the G4s are just chilling on the side, and they can actually be a problem. I think this KVK is going to get really, really interesting probably about 2 days from now, and we'll go over why. All right, if you're not familiar with the map, top left in the red is 1093. Bottom right is 1960, top right is 2605, and then G5s, the top middle, and bottom left. And Kingsland right now, 1093 and 1960 are going at it. 1093 came out ahead. They were really pushing 1960. And as with the case for 1960, when you have essentially unlimited resources, when someone has a numbers advantage, they're going to overwhelm you in the beginning. But those players, because they just have less resources, they're going to start wearing out. And as they start wearing out, and 1960 doesn't wear out because they just have pilots, they have unlimited resources, they're still gonna push back. Okay, so if this KVK was any other kind of matchup, so let's just say 1960 and 2605 allied, this KVK would be over. They would win. If 2605 and 1093 were allied, this KVK would be over. They would win. But because right now there's this like free-for-all dynamic, even though 1960 was losing yesterday, they're starting to fight back a little bit. I think they'll actually start pushing ahead and gain some territory. There's still so many unknowns, and it's not even guaranteed. Like if anything, out of 2605, 1093, and 1960, I think 1960 is actually still in the worst position. I'll go over why. Okay, so let this be a lesson that in the future, free-for-alls, you're going to play it differently than when you have Diplo and there's just two sides. And also, free-for-all can be really fun. So in this Lost Kingdom, right, we go into the Kingsland. This blue right here is 1093, and the red is 1960. 1960 actually has gained some territory back. They're pushing back, and I think you'll see them push back more and more. Now, in the meantime, you can see 2605 up here just kind of chilling, right? They got locked. They started coming out. And they've just been hanging out here, and clearly they could push harder, but I think it's very smart that they're just waiting and just taking their time, because what you want is for the snipe and the clam to wear themselves out, and then eventually you push over and you can actually take advantage of two very, very weakened opponents that are clearly stronger than you. Okay, now where I think 2605 can mess up is if they don't push hard enough, because if let's just say 1960 ends up winning this and they start being able to secure this whole area, and 1093 is completely just drained and have lost, 2605 won't be able to overtake 1960. They have to actually time it just right, where whoever's winning, I think it's going to be 1960 over this next day or two. They start putting some pressure on 1960, almost essentially quote unquote allying with 1093, and then they probably end up helping take out 1960, and then they could take on 1093, a very drained 1093. That's 1093's path to victory. Let me take that back. That's 2605's path to victory. 1960 needs to secure this very quick. If they can actually really push 1093 back or out over the next 2 days before 2605 gets here, that's going to be their best shot. 1093 at this point, if I was them, I would actually start trying to conserve and wait until 2605 pushes a little bit further, or just kind of hold on, like, because at some point this KVK is going to end, right? So if they can actually hold for a little bit longer, that's probably the strategy. Or if they could just really push 1960 out, but it doesn't look like they can. 1093 is actually in this weird place right now where the group of fives, I'm not sure what they're doing, right? Because you can see the group of five, they're kind of pushing out here a little bit. They're burning some of these forts, so they're going to start pushing in too. And then again, they're going to start putting the clamp on 1093. There's another group of five up here, up in the middle, right? And you can see where are they? They're actually kind of pushing out. How come I can't find them right now? I thought I saw them pushing out, maybe not. I mean, they're locked between 2605 and 10. Oh, maybe it's this one right here. Let's see. Oh my God, please. Okay, so no, that's still 1093. So this top one is locked. I thought that I saw them doing something earlier, but maybe I'm just missing it. But regardless, the group of fives has the worst chance. I think 2605 surprisingly might actually have the best chance, and it will be really interesting if 2605 ends up coming back and winning this, even though they're like the third strongest kingdom. And then I want to see how Chizgul talks about how free-for-all is stupid, or maybe he could change his mind, because this is very interesting. If this is any other scenario, I think this KVK would have been clearly over, right? It just whoever had 2605 between 1093 and 1960 would just win. The G4s are so far surprisingly weak. Hopefully they're playing possum. I think if one of the G4s ends up winning, or the G4s, all 12 kingdoms end up winning, and then or 2605 wins, this will have been one of the most interesting KVKs that we've seen. But right now, you can see yesterday the territory was about here, and then over the last like 12 hours or so, 1960 has started pushing forward, and that was to be expected if 1093 couldn't push further, just because even though you have the numbers advantage, those lower the numbers advantage, those players with less resources, as they start wearing out and 1960 doesn't wear out, this was going to happen. Okay, so right now that's where the KVK is at. If you guys have any thoughts or comments, in addition to whatever I posted maybe about a week ago, 5 days ago, I can't remember at this point, feel free to leave it. But this KVK is super interesting. I usually am not that interested in watching a KVK, but seeing this dynamic, first of all, watching two like high-level Imperiums duke it out is just really fun. I hope to be able to fight in that one day, maybe in the near future, with 2268. I'm not going anywhere. But also, even if one side wins, it's still not over, because you still have 2605 and even potentially the G4 is lurking. And then whoever loses will probably end up indirectly allying with 2605, just to wear out whoever is winning. So this KVK is super interesting. It's probably going to get kind of boring over the next day, just because I think 1960 is going to push in. And then you can see 2605, who's just chilling here, start pushing down. And then once 2605 actually gets close to Kingsland, or when 1960 has to start fighting 2605, that's when it's going to get super interesting again. I think this is going to be something that isn't settled for at least the next like 4 or 5 days or longer. I mean, this thing could potentially go all the way until the end of KVK, where the Zig is closed. And that's kind of the magic of a free-for-all. So if you did enjoy watching this, hopefully spread the word, not just parrot what the authority or the talking heads, if you will, are saying about a free-for-all. And maybe we could see more fun free-for-all KVKs that break up this like monotony of Diplo, two sides, and then when one side wins Kingsland, it's over. Because if that was the case, this KVK is over. I think 1960 is going to win, beat out 1093, which is really impressive, because yesterday it looked like 1960 was about to get pushed out of Kingsland, but they held out through the downtime. And I think actually that 1093 doesn't have as much left. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you see at the bottom, there's 2 channels. One is a gaming channel. The other one is more for like mentoring. Also, I posted a video yesterday talking about how, like, if you ask a question, like I'm getting more and more questions now. A lot of time the question is actually reflecting where you're at. and how just realizing where you're at when you're asking the question could really answer your own question and make a big difference for you. Again, thank you for watching. If anything changes, it'll probably be like 2 or 3 days from now. I'll probably make another update, but I think the way it's going to go is 1960 is going to push, 2605 is going to push in, and that's when it'll get really interesting again.